Have you not seen the news? I kind of stopped paying attention to whatever was going on in Japan. It was so that he would stop thinking about Mirko every day. Although they had a bad argument, he still loved her. No, he loved her even more than before, now that he was in danger of losing her. The villains dug out more dirt on the hero's safety protection commission. It's a video from the Roots headquarters from the night they captured you. Oh damn, Naruto said when he remembered what had transpired back then. Now the whole country knows that the leader of Root, Danzo, kidnapped you to turn you into a lab rat, all for the sake of making his agents awaken their quirks and take over the world. So many things happened lately that it felt as if several years had passed since that moment, but now that Mirko was talking about it, it was all coming back to him. Danzo's speech to him before the doctors induced an artificial coma in him rang clearly into his ears.
Now there are protests in all big cities, demanding for the government to completely abolish the hero system. The people of Japan don't want heroes anymore.
This is crazy talk. Who is going to protect the weak when the villains act up? The police can't do anything about them.
Tell that to them. They've gone mad. They're just lashing out in anger and frustration, turning against the very people who protect them. You were right, I shouldn't have returned.
Naruto and Rumi's argument and consequent separation stemmed from their differing views on what course of action they wanted to take next. Whereas Naruto had wanted to have nothing more to do with Japan and to stay in the USA together with his parents and with little Eri, Mirko wanted to go back to her country and continue doing her job as a hero, to protect the innocent. No, you were right too, Naruto said. Between the two of us, you are the real hero, not me. I've only ever seen being a hero as a job. It is a way for me to use my quirk to get money and live in this society. It was never about becoming the symbol of peace and hope for the weak. I've always been in it just for myself and for my family. And I still feel the same. But you are different. You, Izuku, Best Jeanist, and many others. You all went back to Japan for the sake of protecting the innocent, even if you aren't getting paid for it now. You're much better people than I am.
Naruto had been a hero for his village and for his country in his past life. But in his current life, he has made a resolution to live for his family first and foremost. He would help other people too, if possible, but their needs would never come before his or those of his family.
In this life, Naruto wasn't a hero. Not like All Might. Not like Izuku. Not like Mirko. It's hard to determine who was right and who was wrong, Mirko said. But I do know that I don't want to stay in Japan anymore. It's not just the government and the villains who are against me anymore. The regular people are against the heroes too now. I'm sure the opinions of a few protesters aren't the thoughts of all people. They're just louder.
I'm afraid most people are on the same page. It's complete chaos over here. People have banded together in neighborhood gangs and look out for each other or fight against other gangs. The police are helpless. And although me and the rest of the heroes who are still here are arresting villains and gang members every day, they get released shortly after. They don't get prosecuted for their crimes.
Now, even those who we're protecting are protesting against us. We've been fighting in vain. It's hopeless. Then come back, Rumi-chan. Come here, Naruto said. You aren't mad at me.
I stopped being mad the second day after you left, he said, chuckling a bit.
The two of them were both very stubborn, and Rumi also had a short fuse. Their disagreement 2 months ago had quickly turned into a loud argument, which ended with Mirko asking Minato to teleport her back to Japan. And they had not talked to each other ever since. So, are we? Are we still a thing? She asked in a small voice. Whenever someone asked me out in these 2 months, I told them that I was taken, Naruto answered. Good. It would have hurt me to have to break your legs when I come over if you cheated on me, she said half seriously, half jokingly. Despite the worrisome threat she had just made, he could tell from the upbeat tone of her voice that it was as if a weight had been lifted off her heart. He swallowed his saliva in nervousness before saying, Even when you were away, I never stopped thinking about you. I love you, Rumi. When she didn't say anything, he asked.
Rumi, are you okay? His sensitive hearing picked up a very small sound of sniffing. Although the Rumi covered the phone's mic with her hand, it wasn't enough to prevent Naruto from hearing it. I'm fine, she said. Can you tell your dad to come pick me up? He's not at home now. He and mom went on a date to Paris. Knowing the two of them, you'd probably need to wait until tomorrow before he becomes available. I see. What a bummer. But we can still talk. How about we start a video call?
No, it's all good. We could just talk on the phone, she said quickly. Naruto chuckled softly to himself. Considering what kind of person Mirko was, he could tell that she didn't want him to know that she had been crying.
After the villains annihilated the HPSC and overthrew the Japanese government, the entire country descended into chaos.
Rumi was not the only hero who decided to stay in Japan and fight against crime in the aftermath of the Civil War. Izuku, Eraserhead, Best Jeanist, and many others continued to fight on after their injuries were healed. However, the pro-heroes began losing hope when they realized that the new regime was not going to prosecute the villains for their deeds. From one of the safest and most civilized countries on Earth, Japan became no better those third-world countries which were ruled by warlords.
The last straw that broke the camel's back came when the government released to the public the footage from Root's headquarters, showing Danzo's speech and the way that Naruto had been strapped to a table and forced into a coma.
Now, the population went out in the streets, protesting against pro-heroes and the previous regime. But most of the people weren't even sure what they were protesting for. They were going out there just for the sake of violence, to release their pent-up anger and frustration at their powerlessness.
Nevertheless, that action led to most heroes becoming disheartened, just like Mirko. What point was there in fighting to protect the people when even the people they were rescuing hated them? Furthermore, with the government not taking any action against villains, they had no way of putting the villains away for good, unless they killed them. But heroes rarely killed anyone. It wasn't in their nature, it was not what they had been taught in school to do. In addition, killing people would just give the government a pretext to start hunting the heroes down.
From that moment on, most of the pro-heroes who had still been active after the coup d'etat went into hiding. They stopped fighting for the people who hated them. Mirko lost her motivation too.
All for One's ambition had become a reality once again. There was no leadership in Japan. There was no order. The entire country was now part of his empire of crime. There was only one rule in Japan now, the rule of the fist. AFO was the one with the biggest and strongest fist of them all. Now, everyone bowed to him.
3 months later, time passed and soon it was autumn. Neri-san, how do I look? Eri burst into Naruto's room without even knocking, and asked before making a twirl to show off her new uniform. Luckily, he was decent. He was in the middle of writing a report for his boss, at the Hero Agency. He turned around to see his little sister. She was wearing a red plaid skirt, a white button-up shirt, and a black blazer on top. Look at you! You're the cutest girl I've ever seen, Naruto said, making a show out of expressing how impressed he was. Eri laughed happily. Cuter than Rumi Ni-chan too? Eri asked mischievously when she saw that Rumi was on the balcony, knowing that the rabbit girl could hear what they were talking about perfectly.
Oh, you naughty little squirrel. Don't let me get my hands on you. Naruto shouted playfully and stood up, pretending to chase after her. Eri ran out of his bedroom, squealing and laughing. And she would have returned to continue teasing Naruto if not for Kushina, who stopped her and reminded her that she needed to get ready for tomorrow. I wish I was ever as excited about starting school as she is, Rumi said with a chuckle as she came into the bedroom.
Can you blame her? She's never had friends of her age before.
Mirko came and sat on one of his knees.
Still not done with your report. I would be done by now if not for a certain someone who decided to use a car's roof as a springboard to launch herself in the air. Oh, give me a break. If I hadn't done that, that wasp dude would have gotten away. Flying types are always annoying to catch. After returning from Japan, Mirko started living together with the Uzumaki family in their guest room. Now, she also worked together with Naruto at the same hero agency. They were even partners.
She turned around in his lap and straddled his thighs.
Not now, Rumi. I really need to finish this, he whined.
I'm not doing anything. I just want to hug you, she said as she embraced him and rested her chin on his shoulder. He let out a sigh and tried not to think of any impure thoughts. He was finding it increasingly difficult to keep it together when the rabbit girl was getting more affectionate and clingy with every passing day.
Knock was heard on the door.
Naruto, Rumi-san, are you decent? Minato asked from beyond the door.
Yes, come in. Minato smirked a little in amusement when he saw how Naruto was trying to work while the rabbit girl was in his lap, straddling him and embracing him.
Suffering from success? He asked with a grin.
Naruto chuckled at his father's verbal jab. I'm not complaining, not much. You need my help with anything.
I just got a call from Principal Nezu. He wants to talk to both of you. When they arrived in the living room, they saw that the large screen of the TV was split into nearly 30 squares. It was a video call conference.
He recognized Izuku's green hair right away. Then, one by one, he also noticed that most of the teachers from UA High were present, together with several other pro heroes such as Hawks and Best Jeanist. Welcome. It's good to see you again, Uzumaki-san. Nezu greeted him. Hello. What is this about, Principal? He asked in return. You may want to take a seat first. Don't be so suspicious, Minato said when he saw Naruto hesitating. We have a good plan of action now. I call this operation the Mantis Stalks the Cicada, unaware of the Oriole behind. What do you think?
Naruto groaned, and he could see that half of the people on the screen were facepalming too.
Who let my dad name things? Naruto said, getting second-hand embarrassment because of his father. It reminded him of how Minato used to name techniques in his past life. Hey, I'm hurt. What's wrong with the name I chose? Minato said, crossing his arms to his chest.
Let's first hear what they have to say, Mirko said, patting the seat next to her for Naruto to sit down on the sofa too.
Leaving aside Uzumaki Senior's questionable naming sensual. Hey! We are planning on striking back at All for One, Nezu said, not acknowledging Minato's shout of protest. What is this plan exactly? I hope it's something better than simply waltzing into Afo's hideout to kill him.
You think so little of us, Naruto-kun, said Izuku.
The plan is to lure All for One out of hiding and strike when he least expects it, Blood King said. The truth is that we cannot leave things as they are anymore, Best Jeanist said. The situation in Japan is as bad as it used to be before All Might's reign as the symbol of peace. It's complete anarchy now. So, how are we going to lure Afo out? Asked Mirko.
Naruto and I are one of the keys to this plan, said Izuku. It's best only for one of us to talk, said Aizawa. Principal Nezu, if you will. Yes, thank you, Eraserhead. As Midoriya-san pointed it out, the two of you will be one of the keys, Nezu told Naruto. According to what we know, AFO has always had a strong interest in obtaining your quirks. We don't expect him to come out the very instant you are spotted in Japan. But if you and Vanguard were to act together in your capacity as heroes to fight crime, and if the two of you were to destroy an important asset such as Redestro and his company, for example, I am certain that word of your arrival will reach his ears.
The name your father came up with for this operation, although a mouthful, isn't exactly wrong, Nezu continued. You will be the cicada, and All for One will be the mantis who will move on to hunt you, unaware of the fact that he is being hunted himself by the Oriole behind him. Us, the rest of the pro heroes. Mirko, scrunched her eyebrows in thought.
Not to be rude, but how exactly are you planning on beating All for One? Best Jeanist, you were there with me when AFO kicked RSS, obliterated the HPSC, and killed Ryaku in Endeavor. You know how powerful he is. The two of us barely escaped alive thanks to Minato-san.
Mirko wasn't afraid of fighting, but she wasn't a fan of throwing her life away in vain either. There was a thin limit between courage and stupidity, and this plan of theirs was clearly not on the side of courage.
I said that Naruto-san and Midoriya-san will be one of the keys, Nezu explained. The other key is Eraserhead. His quirk, Erasure, can cancel other people's quirks as long as he looks at them. We have a rather short window of time to defeat AFO, but even he will not be able to survive the combined attack of so many of us at the same time. I remember that half a year ago, when you called Dad to teleport everyone out of the shelter, you were worried about a mole in your midst. Have you managed to find it? Naruto asked. If there's a spy in our ranks, AFO will also find out about our operation too.
That's where I come in. Yahalo, said a young woman in an energetic voice, and waved at the camera. Finally my time to speak. Finally my time to shine. Who are you? Asked Naruto. He had never seen her before. He would have certainly remembered a woman as eye-catching as her, if she had been a pro hero in Japan.
The woman took off her stylish shades and winked at him. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Makoto Tsukauchi, and I am a hero manager. But it makes sense that you wouldn't know me since I'm not operating in Japan but in the US. Does the Playboy hero ring a bell?
What do you have to do with that piece of shit? Naruto asked with a deadpan.
Of course that he recognized the name. The Playboy hero was one of the top 10 pro heroes in the United States and easily one of the top 5 most controversial celebrities in the country.
Naruto, it's not polite to talk like that. Minato admonished him, but he didn't put his heart into it because his thoughts were the same.
I'm not a student anymore, so it's fine. Besides, it's a fact that he is scum. I'm his manager, the woman said happily as if she hadn't even heard the way Naruto was talking about her client. But I've got to say you have guts. And the looks. Oh my, you look even more handsome than in the pictures and videos I've seen of you. That tan is gorgeous. And that golden fur. Can we please get back to talking about the matter at hand? Mirko cut her off in annoyance. Tsukauchi-san, please, Nezu said.
Fine. Way to suck all the fun out of it, she threw her hands up in exasperation before saying in a serious voice. My quirk is polygraph. I can tell if someone is lying or if they're speaking the truth. I have tested it on everyone except for Mirko, you, and your family. I am certain that everyone in this video conference is clean. There are no traitors among us. And you can trust me because I'm Detective Tsukauchi's sister. He was All Might's best friend. Me being part of this operation is only thanks to my brother asking me to do him a favor. With that out of the way, what do you say? Are you in? Will you work together with us to take out All for One and restore order to Japan? Nezu asked. Naruto mulled over their words for a few seconds before saying,
I am in, but there is one thing that you need to know and one thing that all of you need to agree with before we do anything. If you cannot agree with this one thing, I won't participate.
Let us hear it.
First of all, you have to know that even if Aizawa-sensei can't stop All for One's quirk, I am strong enough to take on All for One by myself. When the pro heroes on the other side of the screen started talking at the same time, clearly unconvinced by his words, thinking he was boasting, Naruto said bluntly. Age and seniority mean nothing. It doesn't matter if you've been a pro hero for 10, 20, or 30 years. Only strength matters now. I am strong, and Izuku is just as strong, or maybe even stronger than me at this point. He had long since surpassed All Might. So take that, you're a student who needs protecting, thought out of your minds.
Second, the thing that you all need to agree with is that I am going to kill All for One with my own 2 hands.
If the pro-heroes murmured in disagreement the first time, they have outright started shouting now.
I agree with Naruto, Mirko said over their shouts.
So do I, Minato also spoke in favor.
I do too, Nezu said, unknowingly making the arguing pro-heroes quiet down. Taking advantage of their silence, Minato said. All for. One has been chasing my wife and her side of the family for 3 generations already, all for the sake of stealing their quirk and killing them. She's had to live in fear her entire life, and we, as a family, had to go into hiding for years, out of fear for our lives.
But you won't have to worry about any of that once he gets imprisoned in Tartarus. Why would you agree with letting your own child stain his hands with blood? Asked Midnight.
There's no guarantee that Tartarus will be able to hold FO, Minato countered. Someone like him is too dangerous to be left alive. And you still seem to not understand what kind of person my son is. Naruto will stop at nothing to keep us, his family, safe. As long as AFO draws breath, he will always be a threat to us.
Why are we even debating over such a thing? Mirko said with a frown on her face, losing her patience. Look at what this villain has done to Japan. Look at how many hundreds of people perished at his hands. He deserves to die 10 times over for all the crimes he's committed.
That is a dangerous line of thought. It's not our job to decide who gets to live and who gets to die, Ectoplasm said. You sound no different than the villains now. We are heroes, not juries, judges, and executioners. All for. One has the government in his pocket. Do you seriously think he'd get a fair trial? Or that he'd get a trial at all? He'd be released right away. I agree with Naruto. Unless we all agree that AFO needs to die, I won't have any part in this operation either, Minato said. Naruto let out a sigh.
Let me make 2 things clear. First, I'm not asking any of you to kill him. I will do it. And second, I'm not doing this for the country of Japan or for the people living there. I'm doing this for myself, for my mother, and for Izuku. All for one needs to die. If you agree with that, I'll use my full power to support your plan. If you don't agree, then there is nothing for us to talk about. Make a decision now.
A new chapter up. Chapter 47, Happy Birthday. It was the 10th of October. It was his birthday. As it happened to fall on a Friday, Naruto took a day off from work, getting a 3-day-long weekend. Taking in the emptiness of his home, his mind went back to his past life. His birthdays were never happy back then. He used to be an orphan. He had no parents, no other relatives, and no actual friends. He was all alone. Furthermore, the 10th of October was a day of mourning for the village hidden in the leaves, a day when everyone was reminded of the night when Kyubi, the 9-tailed demon fox, broke out of his mother's seal and caused a massacre, killing thousands. But his current life was different. He was no longer alone. He wasn't an orphan, nor was he unwanted. His home was empty only momentarily. In a few hours he would be surrounded by his family again. It was just early in the day, so everyone had their own things to do.
His little sister, Eri, was at school. She started school a few weeks ago, but the little girl proved to be a social butterfly. She had dozens of friends her age now. She was happier and smiling more than ever. Eri's situation in the past was rather similar to Naruto's previous life. A child born with a cursed power, abused, lonely, and with no family to care for her. Naruto was glad that he could be for Eri what he wished other people had been for him in his past life. Changing Eri's life was the thing that Naruto was the most proud of. It was his biggest accomplishment. As for Kushina, now that Eri was older and started going to school, she decided to go back to work as well. It wasn't that they were hurting for money, but she needed to fill her time with something. She needed an occupation. So she rented a small gym and started teaching judo classes to young children. Her kind, motherly disposition and her beauty were a hit in the neighborhood. It was a small-time gym for now, but Kushina didn't have any ambitions of turning it into a big-name martial arts gym. Lastly, his father was busy working with Principal Nezu. Ever since Minato revealed his quirk to the world and helped evacuate the UA High students and teachers from the shelter, Nezu began requesting his help in other matters as well, things like delivering reinforcements to pro-heroes, rescuing people in need, or even smuggling dozens of people out of Japan. Minato often joked that Nezu was working him like a dog, but the pay was more than satisfactory.
Going out into the garden, he was suddenly assaulted by a German shepherd dog, who started barking excitedly and jumping on him. It was only a cub for now, but it was still larger than most dogs. "Good boy, Kuro, good boy," Naruto laughed as he ran his hands through his fur.
When they first got the dog, Naruto was worried the dog would be terrified of him due to his Fox Quirk and Kurama's presence, but it seemed to be completely the opposite. Kuro absolutely loved him. Minato and Kushina had promised to buy Eri a dog 2 years ago, but due to Naruto being attacked by AFO and the family needing to go into hiding, they had not been able to do it. But now that they were living in a safe environment again, they finally kept their word. Eri was, of course, ecstatic. She was the one who chose the dog breed and named him too. Although it was October, the weather in Florida was still nice and warm. Naruto was only wearing black shorts and an orange t-shirt. Busying himself with cutting the grass in the garden and playing with Kuro, he lost track of time.
It was only when the yellow school bus stopped in front of the house, and Eri came out of it, that he realized how much time had passed.
"Bye, see you on Monday," Eri yelled and waved her hand at her schoolmates in the bus, who suddenly pressed their faces against the windows and seemed to become super excited. Turning around, Eri saw the reason for their behavior. It was Naruto. His 6 golden fox tails made him unmistakable. Only a few months after moving in, he was already a local celebrity in Jacksonville. After all, the USA was no different from how Japan used to be when it came to how much people loved pro heroes.
Something came up, and I'm going to be late. Could you take Era-chan to her friend's house?
Sure, I don't mind, Naruto said. Eri was going to have a sleepover with her friends from school. Her friends lived in the same suburb, not far away, but it wouldn't look nice if the little girl were to go there all alone. "I hope you're not going to go there wearing shorts and a t-shirt."
Of course not.
But the pause he made before answering betrayed the fact that he had been thinking of doing just that.
Your little sister is super proud of you, you know. Her teachers told me she talks about you all day long. So dress nicely for her sake. You wouldn't want Eri to feel embarrassed by her slob of a brother in front of her friend's parents, would you? Yeah, Mom, I get it. You don't have to nag me. Kushina laughed on the other end of the call. Fine. I'll stop. Also, don't forget about coming to the Astoria Hotel at 6 o'clock. We have to discuss you-know-what with you-know-who. After dropping Eri off at her friend's house and saying his goodbyes, Naruto noticed that it was almost time to go to the Astoria Hotel. He could get there in less than 2 minutes if he ran, but he didn't want to get there all sweaty and stink for hours to come. After all, he was going there for the sake of meeting Japan's pro heroes in person, and discussing their plans regarding All for One, and how to retake Japan from the hands of the villains.
"I wonder how long until you get 3 more tails," Kurama suddenly came out of his shirt and said as he sat on Naruto's shoulder. "We know by now that my quirk evolves when I'm in a life and death situation." "There hasn't been any of that lately," Naruto replied. There were villains and criminals in Jacksonville, Florida, too, but Naruto was so powerful nowadays that most villains hardly posed a challenge anymore. His continuously growing popularity in Florida and in the USA at large wasn't only due to his good looks or due to being put into the spotlight by the fiasco in Japan. It was also because he was strong beyond belief. But honestly, it's enough already. You know how much time it takes me to bathe with these 6 tails. Due to his sensitive sense of smell, Naruto felt compelled to always keep himself clean. But running and beating up villains all day long was guaranteed to make him need to bathe. Although having fox tails was tremendously useful in fights and mid-air combat, it was a pain to clean too. Merely showering and drying himself up took him half an hour every day.
I have a feeling that something special will happen when you get 9 tails, Kurama said. What makes you think so? Call it a gut feeling, an instinct.
As people on the street started noticing Naruto's presence and came to ask for him to take a selfie with them, Kurama retreated into Naruto's shirt.
Going to sleep already? Asked Naruto.
You know I don't have the patience to deal with humans. Unless there's an emergency, don't wake me up until tomorrow.
Looking at the tall building in front of him, Naruto scratched his hair.
Did the meeting have to be in a place this fancy? He asked himself. He wasn't an expert in the field, but the Astoria Hotel was a 5-star hotel, and it looked like the type of place to charge $50 for a soda. But when he remembered that Principal Nezu was paying for the whole thing, he shrugged his shoulders and stepped inside. At his mother's nagging, Naruto dressed nicely to drop Eri at her friend's house. He was wearing a pair of clean white sneakers, blue simple jeans, a crew-neck white t-shirt, and a thin biker jacket. It wasn't an elegant or fancy outfit, but something that one would wear on the street. He felt a bit out of place in that luxurious hotel.
Led by one of the hotel's bellboys, Naruto arrived in front of a wide red and black double door. But when the attendant opened the door and he saw that it was completely dark inside, Naruto became tense because his sensitive hearing picked up the sound of many people breathing.
He suddenly grabbed the bellboy by the arm and shoved him behind his back. His hands turned into vicious-looking claws, and 4 golden chains came from his back, ripping the back of his shirt and jacket to shreds. But just as he did that, the lights were turned on, and a loud chorus of voices yelled,
"Surprise! Happy birthday! Minato, Kushina, Izuku, Todoroki, Tokoyami, Nezu, Best Jeanist, Eraserhead, Hawks, and many other pro-heroes from Japan were smiling at him. There had to be nearly 50 people.
You guys, shit, I almost thought the villains were going to jump my ass. Naruto, language, Kushina admonished him while the rest of the heroes burst into laughter. It took nearly 10 minutes for everyone to wish him a happy birthday and shake his hand. What's this all about? Naruto asked his father when things were finally starting to calm down, and he saw everyone standing up as the cooks started bringing the food to the buffet. I thought we were going to have a meeting and discuss our plans to defeat All for One, not eat, party, and drink. It's your birthday, isn't it? You're finally an adult now in the eyes of the law, Minato said, and despite his words, he ruffled his hair as if he were a kid.
But
Just enjoy the moment, son, said Minato. Look, they are all doing the same. This may be our last time to see each other's faces, you know. We're up against a villain with dozens of quirks, someone who has lived and dominated a country for nearly 200 years. We're going to fight an army of over 100,000 villains soon. Some of the people here may lose their lives. This could be the last chance they have to feel good and have a party.